Hello, hello, guys. I am Jasmine Simpkins, entertainment journalist, reporter for HipHollywood.com. I also work with KTLA on a new show called Five Live that streams digital daily. And I have worked in the business for many, many years, talked to some of your favorite celebs, including the man of the hour today, Anthony Anderson. He needs no introduction, but for those who know him, he has probably been tickling your funny bone and entertaining you for quite some time on a number of shows that you've come to love and films. And today we are going to go one-on-one and have a in-depth conversation like never before to talk about his career in all things film. So buckle up, sit tight. If you've got questions, you are feel free. We will open it up at some point. But without further ado, Mr. Anthony Anderson. Hello there.
I'm frozen.
Uh-oh, there you go.
I'm frozen. I'm frozen, but my eyes are blinking, so I'm not really frozen. You were like, oh my God, my seat just, Jasmine is like, oh my God, we're live, and he's frozen. Hey, Jasmine.
Hi, Anthony, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I can't complain. Having a great day, having a great morning. What about yourself?
Ditto. I've got my coffee. I'm talking to you. Life is great. Life is great.
Okay. Well, let's get right into it. Let's
get right into it.
Shoot.
I want to start off just checking in. How have you been? This is a different type of year. And we'll talk a little bit about the fact that you are on set, so you're back to working. But for a while, like the rest of the world, you were at home. So how are you feeling now?
Feeling great. A lot of self-reflection, just like everybody else who was, trapped at home or confined to home. Got back with nature, got back into my gardening and my place of zen, centered myself for, when the world would eventually reopen itself. But me and the family are fine. So it was a good, in spite of everything that was going on, it was a nice time to recenter myself and redefine my purpose and what it was that I wanted to do and how it was that I wanted to move forward.
Now, keep it real though. A lot of people were about to pull their own hair out with the cheering at home. Did you have that also similar situation where you were like, boy, if you don't get up out my face?
Oh, no. My children are 24 and 20 and they're out of the house. So I didn't have that problem at all. The only thing I had to deal with was our little blind cockapoo who was just running around bumping into things. But no children at home for me. Empty nesters.
Good. No homeschooling. Good for you. Good for you.
Oh, if we had homeschooling, I feel bad for whatever student I was supposed to be helping because they were going to fail. It's hard to, how can you be mad at your students for getting an F on their homework and you the one that did the homework?
That part.
That's a problem that a lot of parents were having. I know my brother for sure.
Well, now you are back working. Tell us where you are if you can. What are you working on?
Well, today, this Saturday, we're starting season 6 of my game show, To Tell the Truth, with me and my mother. But, Blackish has been back, as you can see. We were one of the first productions to go back into production. And we're halfway done with our 22 episode order of our season so far. So back doing Blackish and today starting season 6 of To Tell the Truth with my mother.
Did you ever think, well, this is a two-part question. Did you ever think you'd be hosting a game show when you got into this business and then be hosting it with your mama, who's hilarious, by the way? And we'll get into Doris later.
Thank you. No and no. It's no secret that this was what my mother wanted to do. She wanted to be an entertainer. Unfortunately for her, she has no talent. And we debate about that all the time. But, my mother put her dreams and ambitions of being an actor on hold to raise an actor as a single parent and not knowing that that's what she was doing. So for me to be able to give her the opportunity to pay it forward, so to speak, for her to live her dream
Yeah.
is truly a blessing, and we are enjoying every minute of it. From our game show To Tell the Truth to our T-Mobile commercials to her even guest starring on Blackish. So we're having a great time working together and working with one another.
I love because she calls you Anthony. There's no H in there. It's Anthony. Has
Uh-huh.
she called you that your whole life?
That's been my name my entire life. Friends that I've met in high school and college, and they were like, "Oh man, I always thought your name was Anthony." I was like, "It is. That's just how what my mama says." But she's. I don't think my mother. If my mother ever calls me Anthony, I know I'm in trouble. I know I'm in trouble. Anthony, I'll come running. When I hear Anthony, I run the opposite way.
Well, let's talk about how much, though. Let's delve a little deeper into the support she gave you, because we all know getting into this business is not easy. I liken becoming an actor to becoming an athlete, right? It's like you're 1 in 100,000 and getting chosen, and it can really take a toll on you. And obviously, you grew up with Hollywood in your back door, but still, I'm sure it wasn't an easy road. So, kind of take us back to how it kind of got started and how much of a role your mom really did play.
Um, got started when I was 9 years old. I'm the oldest of four children. I have two brothers and a sister. My sister's the youngest. But at the time, it was just the three boys. And my mother was in a production of A Raisin in the Sun at Compton Community College. And we were all in the theater as my mother was rehearsing the play. Me and my two brothers were playing in the back of the theater, and I just happened to look up on stage at that moment, and I realized that that is what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, to the point where I said, that is what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. So for the last 41 years, subconsciously and consciously, I've been preparing for this moment that I'm in right now. And that's how it happened. And, since the age of 9, I've always put myself in a position to be in front of an audience, be it in school, a spelling bee, anytime a teacher asked me to read out loud, be it singing in church, wherever I could have a captive audience is what is what I wanted, and it is what I did. And years down the line, it started to pay off. I went to the High School for the Performing Arts. I attended Howard University as a theater major. And here we are to this day, plugging away, doing what I love to do. I can't call what I do a job, because it's what I believe my energy was created to do.
Yeah.
And that's to entertain. And I can't think of a better way to do it than to share this gift that I've been blessed with in the medium of television and film.
Yeah. When you got back from Howard, was the goal to go to New York? I know for a lot of actors, they say, I'm going to go do some theater. I'm going to be a thespian for a while. Was that your thought process at the time?
It was part of my thought process. I wanted to go to where the work was. I wanted to go wherever I could go to get work. Unfortunately, I ran out of money. I was paying for school myself. I couldn't depend on my parents, who were back home raising my three brothers and sisters. So after my junior year at Howard, I returned home and hit the pavement. And it took me a few years to get on my feet and find my way. And once I did, I never looked back. But New York is still a dream of mine. I got to live in New York for a few years and work on a wonderful television show, Law and Order. But, I've always wanted those bright lights of Broadway. I've always wanted to be on stage, because the theater is where all of this is born from anyway. So I still have my sights on New York and Broadway, eventually one day.
Yeah. So you get back and your first project, do you remember what your first project was? Like IMDb will tell me what it is, but do you remember what your first
Yeah,
project?
I believe my first project was In the House with LL Cool J and Debbie Allen on NBC. I believe that was my first paying gig. Um, and after that, I had a run on a Saturday morning show called Hang Time on NBC as well. But I believe my first paying gig was In the House.
Wow. And so you are on set with the one and only Debbie Allen
Mm-hmm.
and LL. What was that experience like? Were you nervous or did you were like, you know what? I got this. I can do this.
Combination of all of that. Nervous because it's my first real gig, and to work with an icon such as Debbie Allen and LL Cool J. Debbie Allen also went to Howard University. Was a theater major in the College of Fine Arts, just like I was. So there was that connection there. But I grew up watching Debbie on Fame, and everything else that she did. Grew up listening to LL's music, and now to be playing a friend of his opposite him on his own television show, was exciting, was nerve wracking, and all of those things. And
Yeah.
I believe I did a good job. They invited me back, so I had a few episodes of the show, and until I got the Saturday morning show Hang Time.
That's what's up. Over the years, I've even asked you this question about comedy because you're so funny and you're naturally funny. And like you said, you were funny probably as a kid, but you don't like it. You don't call yourself a comedian. At least that's what you told me before, that you don't necessarily call yourself a comedian in the traditional sense. Like, explain that for people who might go, what? Anthony, you're funny. You're hilarious.
Thank you. Thank you for the compliment. Yes, I'm a comedic actor, but I'm not a comedian. I look at my friends who are comedians. Ced the Entertainer, George Lopez, D.L. Hughley, Marlon Wayans, Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, Jim Carrey, all of these gentlemen I've worked with, and I see the work that they've put in over the years on stage, with just them and a microphone and an audience. So I take being a comedian in a very serious way, and so I don't want, I haven't put that work in to be considered, in my opinion, to be considered a comedian or a stand-up. I'm a comedic actor. I'm an actor who happens, to be able to be funny on occasion and hit my mark. But to be called a comedian, I step back from that because I look at the work that the greats have done before me, and I've yet to put in that work and to do that. So, yeah, that's why I say I'm not a comedian.
Your career,
But I am funny. I am funny. I get it from my mama. I get it from my mama.
The career, though, has been shaped by a lot of comedic work. Was that a plan with your team? And I know you have some great folks that are working with you on your team. And is that a part of the strategy to try and, create things that you love and respect, but also things that are true to who you really are?
It wasn't a strategy. It was what happened at the time. I'm a firm believer that things happen when they're supposed to happen and how they're supposed to happen. And it just so happens that, I struck a chord in this comedic world and with these comedic characters and these comedic films. And I just rode with the punches, so to speak. But I've trained at being an actor since the age of 9. I've been in a class, or classes, since that age, and it's something that I've trained to do, and it just so happens that the comedic world opened up to me via television and film. And so I figured that that was just my lane at the time, and it was. But I also wanted to show the world and the audience that there was much more to me than just being, this character actor or this comedic relief in these pieces. I wanted to show them uh, the work that I've been putting into my craft as an actor, not just as a comedic actor, but as an actor. And when those opportunities weren't presenting themselves to me outside of the comedic world, I took it upon myself and my partners to create those opportunities for myself and target, characters in films and television shows where, in a more dramatic role, thus movies like Hustle and Flow, television shows like The Shield
Yeah.
or Law and Order, movies like The Departed. Those were things that we consciously went after, and I was content with not doing anything comedic for a while because that's how I started my career,
Yeah.
and we all knew that I could be funny, but it was just like, yo, let's pivot because Hollywood can be myopic in their thinking at times. When you do something and you do it well, that's all they see you as. And before I was typecast as just that, I wanted to explore, and I wanted to show them and take them on this journey with me. That, hold on, we've only just begun to scratch the surface with this comedic stuff. Let me show you what else that I can do.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that successfully. And now I'm not just seen as Anthony Anderson, the comic relief or whatever. I'm seen as Anthony Anderson, this actor who can, I would like to say, who can do it all.
I think you've proven that for sure. I think we also, when we talk about actors, we talk about the breakthrough, right? You hear that word, like the
Mm-hmm.
breakthrough role. What do you think that was for you? When
I don't
things
think I've had.
change.
I,
You
I
don't
don't. I
think
don't
so?
think I've had that. I don't think I've had that breakthrough role yet.
Really?
I've had some opportunities that for people to see me in a different light, but uh, for that breakthrough role, I don't think it's been presented to me yet. I don't think we've created it yet. But but I've had some great opportunities. That, like I say, The Shield, to be Antoine Mitchell for 2 seasons on The Shield opposite Michael Chiklis, opposite Glenn Close, and opposite Forrest Whitaker, and the rest of that cast for 2 years was a role that I don't think people expected to see me in, especially after coming off movies like Kangaroo Jack and Me, Myself, and Irene. Um, so yeah, and movies like Hustle and Flow, just it's like, oh wow, hold on, I didn't know he could dance like that in this world. But that breakthrough role, I don't think I've had it yet.
What is the dream role then? Is there one that you would love to play that maybe you guys have been thinking about? Something that you either want to produce or even just help
You
get
know,
done?
I've said this, for years now. I would love to portray Donny Hathaway. I would love to tell the story of Donny Hathaway, just about the man himself. Um, it's interesting that we're sitting here talking about, and I don't want to say the theme of this film festival this year, but part of the theme of the film festival is mental illness, mental
Mhm.
health.
Yeah.
I would love to tell the story of Donnie and talk about the demons that he fought, within himself because of mental health and mental illness and dealing with that, and then just what he did musically. I think it's a story that I think an audience would enjoy watching and learning a great deal.
Yeah.
One about the man and the music and two, about, the issues that he was dealing with while entertaining the world.
Yeah. There's so many artists that have that dichotomy, right? There's darkness and light for them. Um, and I think that now we're becoming more open. People are talking a lot more about, back then, no one knew really what he was going through, at least it wasn't at the forefront. But I think now more people in the Hollywood community and the world in general are talking about mental health, and that's so important. And as you said, it's one of the, pillars of this particular film festival. How for you do you think that you've been protecting your mental health?
Um, it's all about being in tune with who you are, taking the time to sit in the silence alone, and just dealing with it, and centering yourself. Meditation.
Yeah.
For me, I meditate on occasion. I like to be in my garden. That's my place of zen. To play in the earth with my bare hands, and to look at the life that I'm able to produce from seed and seedlings, and look at how that feeds not only me physically, but feeds me mentally and feeds my soul. So that's how I'm able to stay grounded,
Yeah.
and to protect, and guard and shield my mental health, and to make sure that, um, I'm as best as I can be, without complication.
Yeah. Over the years, was there a point though when you felt the industry had taken a toll on you, even mentally, and you had to really, protect your mental health during that point? Because we know how grueling this industry can be, the ups and the downs,
Correct.
even on my side of the business.
Yeah. Well, no, I've never felt that, and if even or if I did feel myself being worn down, that's when I realized that it's time for me to take a step back,
Mhm.
and to, recenter myself, and not get lost, in the next gig, and not get lost in what am I going to do if I don't get the next gig. It's all about taking that time for myself to, re-energize, refocus, and center myself.
Yeah.
I would never let this industry, or anything for that matter, affect me in that way. Um, and it's all about recognizing when you need to just sit back, take a step back, and sit in the silence, and be still. I love what I do. I love the work that I do. I would do this, even without a paycheck, but it's also, time. There's also a time that, I know that I need. I'm always giving. I'm always just giving so much of my energy, and so much of this gift, and so much of this spirit that I have. And it's also, there comes a time where you have to recognize where it's like, well, hold on, I need to hold on to some of this for myself right now. you
Yeah.
know um, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to recognize that, and take that time for myself without, someone having to come in and intervene and was like, yo, we got to shut all this down, you need to go sit down someplace.
Yeah, yeah. How important do you feel it is for Black people, especially in our community, to talk about our mental health, though? Because it definitely is something that affects us as well. We always talk about how, oh, we don't go to therapy and things like that. But how important do you think it is that we as a community also just really hunker down and have those tough conversations about mental health
It's
issues?
very important. It's very important that we sit and talk about it. Because for so long, we all have somebody that, that's in our family, and we've all been affected by it, in one way or another. There's that uncle that, always stayed in that back room, or in the basement, or in the attic someplace, that, nobody really dealt with, nobody really talked about. It was just like, yo, that's my crazy uncle, or whomever. Um, Not really dealing with the issue, about why he or she is the way that they are. It was always swept under the rug, and never dealt with. And we can't really move forward or expand if we're not dealing with all of the issues that we have and dealing with them head on. And that's why I think it's important that we sit back and we have these discussions. We have these conversations about what it means, and to be mentally fit, and how it affects us. I have a half sister that suffers from mental illness. I have an aunt that suffers from it. So I understand what it's like to deal to try to deal with someone rationally when they're living in an irrational world. Um, and we have to embrace that. We have to embrace it, because if we continue to sweep it under the rug or continue to not address it, then the problem never gets dealt with, never gets solved. We don't learn, and we stay stagnant in that. And another thing, therapy is a beautiful thing, and we shun that, and we shouldn't. Why wouldn't we want to go talk to a professional about whatever it is that's ailing us, or whatever it is that's going on in our lives that we can't get a grasp of, but yet we can sit and talk to this person, and this professional can give us the tools that we need to deal with whatever it is that we're dealing with. When we're physically sick, we go see a doctor.
Yeah.
When there's an ailment, but when we're mentally ill, or we need help with our mental health, we want to compartmentalize it and put it in a place and not deal with it. Why do we do that?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we want to deal with someone that can help us with that? And like I say, give us the tools in which to better ourselves.
Yeah. It really has been a beautiful thing over the last few years in the mental health community, seeing more and more people, even your contemporaries, coming out and talking about some of the personal issues they're dealing. I remember Jennifer Lewis had her one woman show, and she has her book, and I think that she really helped people start talking. I think that was so important that she did that, and I think we've seen more people do that. For the show in particular, for Blackish, do you guys feel like it's a topic that you want to delve more into?
I'm pretty sure it is. We will, rather, as long as it's authentic to the characters, authentic to the stories that we're telling. Yeah, because it's something that plagues our community that really hasn't been dealt with. And to have a co-star in Jennifer Lewis, who's very public about I don't want to say her illness, but for lack of a better term, her illness, and bringing awareness to it. Yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't continue to tell these type of stories and deal with it, and tackle it head on, and so that we as a community can have a dialogue about it.
Yeah.
And an honest and real dialogue about what is afflicting us, and why is it so taboo, or why has it been taboo that we've never really dealt with it publicly, and what we can do to change that, what we can do to change that narrative and take control over it, and deal with it in a way that's productive for all.
Yeah. The show really does tackle so many issues, and you've said you guys have already started filming. What can you tell us about some of the things you're going to tap into this season?
Well, we started with the election, a two-part animated episode of the election. We're dealing with the pandemic in which we're living in right now. So everything that the world is going through, and our community in particular, are things that that we're going to talk about on our show. We're mental illness, police brutality, social injustice, police reform. One Junior on the episode is I catch him smoking marijuana right now, and just how that's affecting me, and my take on it versus Rainbow's take on it, who was born and raised on a commune. So it's a, hey, what's the problem, Dre? But it is what it is. So the things that we're all dealing with as a family, as a culture, as a community. We'll continue to talk about on our show.
Are you loving that Blackish now has its own legacy and identity? I'm sure you got the Cosby Show question over and over again when you were first doing interviews. I'm sure I probably asked it when I interviewed you guys in the very, very beginning, but now it has its own identity. We will now call it Blackish. That show's like Blackish. It's like Mixedish. It's all the issues. You guys have really created this own world that it stands on its own. Are you proud of that?
Oh, of course I am. For Blackish and all of our offspring, grownish, mixedish, and hopefully oldish, to be in the zeitgeist the way that it is right now. Yeah, yeah. Very proud of the work that we're doing, of the stories that we're telling. Not only, for our community, but for an audience worldwide. The specificity in which we tell these stories and the authenticity in which we tell them is, I believe, what makes our show resonate with an audience worldwide, and not just a Black audience. When Kenya and I sat down almost 8 years ago now, we sat down and looked at what was missing from the landscape of television for people like us, he and I in particular. And the Cosby Show was one of those shows. All in the Family, The Jeffersons, Good Times. Those were the shows that we felt were missing from primetime network television before we created Blackish. And here we are, almost 8 years later, taking a page from those books, those shows, taking a page from what Norman Lear did with those shows, and adding it to our scrapbook, and doing what we're doing with our shows. So very proud of the work that we're doing, very proud of the legacy that we'll leave behind with Blackish.
Dre will now go down in the canon of, fathers in TV history. So that's kudos to you for the work that you've done, because he is all his own. And sometimes I be fighting in the air, like, come on, because you're so funny and so great at the character. I'm curious, we've seen Rainbow get her spinoff with Mixedish. We've got Grownish, which was a spinoff from one of the kids. Now Oldish for Pops. Will Dre get one? Have you already said, now come on, is there going to be one where we go back and see?
Well, Blackish is Dre.
Yeah.
Dre is Blackish. This is where it all starts from. This is where it all begins. So no, and I'm happy for all of these opportunities that we've been able to provide for our two offshoots, and hopefully more in this Ish universe. There's stories that need to be told. Yeah. Grownish was a byproduct of us watching Cosby, and Cosby spinning off A Different World. These were ideas that Kenya and I talked about in the early stages of us, developing and putting this show together. So yeah, it's just a natural evolution of what's supposed to happen in this world for us.
Yeah, I figured as much. I thought you were going to say Blackish is Dre's, but there still is room, I feel like, for some type of different show, because I think there's so much more you guys can do. But kudos to you guys for what you've created thus far, because it's been fabulous to watch. Take me back though for yourself to film. Let's get a little bit into that. Like the first film that you did, and any advice that you would give a young filmmaker.
Uh, have a point of view, and tell your story the way that you want your story to be told. Um, that's what I would tell them. Any filmmaker, no one is going to tell your story better than you. You know, so have a point of view, and be authentic in whatever it is that you're doing. Don't try to pander to a particular audience or whatnot. But just stay true to who you are and to your idea and to your story, and authentic to that. And your audience, it will find an audience.
Yeah.
Your audience will find you. Uh, because if you try to do it any other way, then you're just flailing in the wind, and you don't know where you land, if you land at all any place. So just be your authentic self and tell your story as honestly, as authentic as you possibly can, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you're telling your story because the stories aren't being told for you. Stories aren't being written for you, so that's why you had to go out and create them. You know, you create the opportunity for yourself. So continue to do that.
Before we hop into some questions over here, I don't want to forget to tell you happy belated birthday. You just
Okay.
turned the big 50. This career that you have created, what are you most proud of now? And turning a milestone age, but how are you feeling about this career that you've created and being able to do what you set out to do?
Feeling great about the career so far. I feel like I'm just getting started. Um, the work that we've been doing for the last 7 seasons on Blackish is um, some of the most proud. Some of the most proud. That doesn't even make sense. I'm most proud of the work that we've been doing the last 7 years here with Blackish, with telling these stories, um, and me receiving my star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame is a big feather in my cap. Growing up in Compton, going to Hollywood High School, literally yards away from where I received my star on the Walk of Fame, walking Hollywood Boulevard, walking those same streets, as a kid, um, as a high school student, going to the Hollywood Christmas parade. Never in 1,000 years did I think that I would be immortalized amongst, those people who were there ahead before me. So to have that opportunity is truly a blessing, and to share it with friends. Um, and George Lopez, said the entertainer, Snoop, Niecy Nash, to have, my core group of friends to also be celebrated there. Kevin Hart, the list goes on and on. So that right there is a huge accomplishment uh, for me, and one that I really didn't see.
Really?
That one just came out of no place. Yeah, it just came out of nowhere. All I really wanted to do was just to do the work, and in doing the work, all of these things come along with it. And I accept them along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about anything else before we hop into this that you're working on. Is there anything else? I mean, you were super busy working and doing so many things. Anything else that you can tease or tell us that you've got in the pipeline?
Well, just producing things, and giving opportunities um, for the next generation of storytellers. Someone afforded the opportunity to me, so it's my responsibility to pay it forward and provide the opportunities, like I say, for the next generation of storytellers. And that's what I'm most excited about right now. We're going to be on this Blackish ride for a little while longer, but in the process of going along on this ride, providing lanes for other people to take their rides. And that's what I'm most excited about right now, just giving the opportunity to others to be able to share their stories.
I love that. And working with your mom, which I'm sure is a treat. We all love her.
Well, nah, you don't know my mama personally like I do, but okay.
I love seeing anything she's doing with you. You guys are going to be on an episode coming up on Kevin Hart's show, which I think is going to be so funny. I love that. So please
Yeah,
tell her I said hello.
I definitely will. I
Thank
definitely
you.
will.
All right, we're going to jump into some questions. Let's start here with Alan Brooks. He's asking you, as an actor, what do you look for in episodic television directors who come in as guests in your world? And what advice would you give to the first-time directors who are stepping into episodic directing?
Uh, hmm. A point of view, and what their vision is. That's what I look forward to. That's what I look for in directors coming in. And I would say the same thing for directors who are or people who are transitioning to become directors. Have a point of view. It does, good, bad, or indifferent, right or wrong.
Yeah.
As long as you have a starting point for something, um, you know, that works for you. It can be wrong, it can be right, but as long as you have a point of view, and then it can be shaped and turned into whatever it is it needs to be turned into for whatever it is that you're working on. But and be prepared. Be as prepared as you can be whenever you step onto a set, be it in front of the camera or behind the camera, because you never know what's going to be thrown at you.
Yeah, yeah. Terica Hemphill, she wants to know, what are your top 5 or 10 books to read? What monologue books would you recommend?
Oh wow!
I know.
Uh, I'm kind of all over the place. The Celestine Prophecy, the 10th Insight, 48 Laws of Power. A lot of self-help books, and things that give you insight to who you are. Because the better you know yourself, the better you'll be entering any situation. And monologue books, I really I couldn't tell you that. I would suggest, reading plays. And, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, of Mice and Men, just reading great, great plays and finding, pieces with great characters. And you'll find it from that. That's what I would suggest.
JP Snell would like to know, what advice or insight would you have for an independent filmmaker, and can they get their ideas and voices heard in Hollywood?
The advice, like I say, always be prepared. It's always going to go back to preparation, and having a point of view, and controlling your narrative and telling the story that you want to tell. And as far as getting your voice heard in Hollywood, the work will speak for itself. But it can be a process of getting the work out there to be able to be seen and to be able to be heard. But that just comes with hard work and determination and aligning yourself with, the right people and the right team. And only you will know if they're the right people and the right team for you
Yeah.
to create that synergy. Um, but that's it. Again, just stay true to who you are as an artist and as a storyteller.
Dolores Flynn wants to know, will there be another season of Mixed Dish? Okay, so we've got a Mixed Dish fan here.
Yes, there is another season of Mixed-ish. They're working away right now, and they will still be partnered with Blackish on the night that it airs. I'm not sure what the air date is, but it's definitely moving along.
I have another question. The
Mm-hmm.
industry has changed so much. You know, now we've got streaming platforms, we've got just different ways that people are consuming content. Any advice for people to navigate that space? Because obviously there was a time when people thought, okay, we only will pitch, or you're thinking to get a pitch with an ABC or to go to a major network is a big deal. How do you view it now?
Um, all of these platforms out here are just more opportunities for us to tell our stories, more avenues for us to. You're no longer regulated to the big three networks or whatnot. Because of all of these streaming platforms, because of the way the technology is today, it is easier to create your content and have it shown and have it be seen someplace because of all the avenues, which is great for content creators, which is great, for artists, because now it's almost to the point where you could write, produce, direct, and your own production and have it seen someplace. Um, almost overnight. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's easier than what it used to be.
Yeah.
And you have hundreds upon hundreds of outlets to go to. They're independent film channels. They're all kinds of things. They're film festivals like this. Where your content can be seen, and getting it in a film festival like this, creates conversation and a buzz about your product, and it also gives you the opportunity to meet new people and to partner with other like-minded people for you guys to collaborate and create things together.
Yeah. Crystal Bolden wants to know, how do you determine if a project is worth working on?
Uh, that's all up to the individual. I can't tell you because what's worth working on something for me could be completely different for you. You may need that check. Let's be real about it. It's like, oh, well, okay, do I do this project or do I get evicted? Do I not eat? Do I get my car repossessed? You know, we all have to start someplace. We've all done something that we look back and we're like, man, why did I do that? It's like, oh, yeah, I needed to survive. But we should never do anything that's going to compromise our integrity and who we are as a man or a woman or an artist. So as long as you can look at yourself in the mirror after you've done that project, then that's fine. We are all, everything that we do isn't going to be a hit. Everything that we do is, isn't going to be one that we can write home about and be like, hey, you got to check this one out. But we're in a business where, until people are writing for us and giving us the opportunity to do what we want to do, we have to do what's given to us on the page, or we go out and we create that opportunity for ourselves.
Actor James Elwood Mueller wants to know, what has been your most challenging role and why?
My most challenging role. I'm going to say when I was Antoine Mitchell on The Shield years ago. Challenging because that was the first time that I was given the opportunity to play a character that was as dark and as heavy as that. A lot of people had only seen me, or up until that point, I had only done these comedic roles. So, so for the FX and Sean Ryan, who created The Shield, to take a chance on me, they saw something in me that I knew that I had.
Yeah.
They recognized it in me and were like, no, this is the perfect guy for this character. But again, it goes back to Hollywood being myopic in the way that they see someone portray something. It's like, oh, he's just the fat, funny guy. That's all he can do. It's like, oh, no, there's more to me than just being the fat, funny guy. There's more to me than just being this comic relief, in these situations that I've been put in. So it was challenging. And the challenging part was getting the opportunity to showcase that side of me. The work itself wasn't challenging because I've been training at this since I was 9. The challenging part was getting the opportunity to show the flip side of what you had been used to seeing me do.
Yeah.
So that's what I would have to say.
Mashara Williams wants to know, is there a Marvel or DC character that you're interested in playing?
Let me see. I haven't seen a husky superhero yet. So, I don't know what it is, but we're going to find one. And, the big ones always fit and all that. I'm looking for a husky character. So I don't know what DC or what Marvel characters are out there that are husky. So maybe we need to go back to the drawing board and just like come up with this, this handsome husky dude who I don't know what his powers are going to be, but, he husky. He husky. He thick. He ain't fit. He fit, but he ain't got a six-pack, but he fit and he husky and he saves the world somehow. I don't know. So Marvel and DC, y'all need to come up with the husky hero.
The husky hero. There it is. Something new. You just created something new. Sean Bledsoe, he said, hi, being considered a golden age actor in the industry for 2 years, what advice can you offer aging actors just getting started?
Hey, there are characters out there for all of us to play. No, they're not writing. They're not writing older characters or golden age characters. I mean, there are characters out there, so it's never too late to get started.
Yeah,
it's never too late to pursue this. They're never not going to tell stories where there aren't older characters in the piece. So you shouldn't worry about that. It goes back to me saying, just be prepared as you can be whenever you enter a room. You're the only part of the equation that you can control. So as long as you are the best that you can be whenever you enter the room, that's all you can worry about. There's always going to be stories where there's a father, a mother, a grandfather, a grandmother, an uncle, an aunt, and characters of a specific and of a certain age. So it's never too late. You shouldn't worry about that at all.
We've got a question from Kyra Newton. She's 12 years old. She wants to know, how can young actors stay safe in the industry, and how can they get started?
Younger actors staying safe, that starts with the parent or the guardian being with them every step of the way on these sets, television sets or movie sets. And how to get started, like I did, find a class, and just put in the work. That's what I would say do. Find a way for you to exercise that muscle. For me, like I said, it was reading aloud in class. It was the spelling bee. It was singing in church. Anywhere that I had a captive audience, I was going to let my star shine, and they were going to have to accept it. So that's what I would say. But always have someone with you, and you will, because you're a minor, that you trust, and that has your best interest at heart. That's how you stay safe.
JP Snell has another question. He asked, I find that financing a film of any length to be such a struggle. With that in mind, do you have any insight or advice on how to find funding to create your art?
Uh, that's a struggle at every level. At every level, finding someone who is willing to invest in you and your project. It's hard to find someone who believes in your project as passionately as you do.
Yeah.
Because you're asking someone in blind faith, basically, to give you a certain amount of money. And there's no guarantee that there will be a return on their investment. So again, it goes back to you being the best that you can be, having the best possible material that you have to share with someone who you want to invest. And it can be hard at times, but you can't be that prideful. You can go to family members and friends and be like, hey, I'm not saying go to your family members and friends, hey, I need 10 million to do this movie with the Husky Hero. Something I'm just creating. No, you have to start small. Make these little student films, make these little short films, something that's going to showcase your talent, in front of and behind the camera, to get people excited about what it is that you do and what it is that you're bringing to them. You just can't come to them with an idea. You have to have something to show them as well. If you want people to part with their hard-earned dollars with no guarantee on a return. Because now it just becomes about, I believe in this young man, I believe in this young woman, I believe in this artist. And I don't care about if there's a return or not, because someone needs to believe in this person.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be that person that believes in them, to help them, bring their dream to fruition, to help them get to the next level. It's a difficult thing. I'm out there looking for money for projects of my own and all of that. And it's a little easier for me, but it's also difficult as well. Especially given the time in which we're living in.
Yeah.
But it's all about having great material, having a reel that they can see, and show them, so they can believe in you. And it's like, all right, I'm willing to partner up with this artist. I'm willing to take this chance with this artist.
Someone in the chat, I don't know who came up with this, but this is hilarious. They said you should do something called Hulkish.
Hulkish, the Husky Hero. Okay, cool. Okay, we got it. All right, I feel y'all. We got it. We playing with it. We're playing with it.
I love it. That was brilliant. Whoever came up with that was brilliant. We've got a wrap. Anthony, thank you so much. This was so great chatting with you. An hour went by so fast. I know you've got to get back on set, but thank you so much. Any final thoughts for any of those participants listening who are in the industry and just want to be an Anthony Anderson?
Hey, always believe in yourself. Never be in competition with another man or another person, another woman, another artist. Be competitive with yourself, but don't be in competition with someone else. And be as prepared as you can be in the room, and know that you can't will it any sooner than what it's destined to come. Always be prepared, because you never know when that window of opportunity is going to present itself. And you never know how long that window of opportunity will be there. Mm-hmm. So when it does present itself, you can't waste time getting ready. You have to be ready. And when it does, jump through it, kick through it, do what you got to do, and never compromise who you are. You know, and always and understand that we are in the business of people telling us no. There are thousands, tens of thousands of actors out there who are all competing for the same role, the same one role. So you can't let those no's discourage you. You can't. And you can't, you know, judge another person or compare yourself to someone else because you don't know what their journey is. You've yet to walk a mile in their footsteps. So understand that. Understand that no one can take from you what is due to you, just like you can't take anything from someone else that's due to them. What's yours is yours, and you will get it. And you can't will it any sooner than what it's destined to come. It will come. It may not come when you want it to. And you can't give up. Never give up on your dreams. And if you're not dreaming big enough, if your dreams don't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough.
That part. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this one-on-one conversation with Anthony Anderson. You guys be sure to check him out on Blackish on ABC and Truth Be Told. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much.
Truth be told, girl, it's called To Tell the Truth.
To tell the truth.
Right, Jasmine.
Sorry.
Jesus.
That was a whole nother, that was a Will Packer TV show that was there for one season. I must have just saw something.
Yeah, well, we're 6 seasons in, okay? Tell that to Will Packer.
Yes. To tell the truth. And Blackish. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in. Capital City Black Film Festival. I wish you guys all the success. And hopefully when we come out of this pandemic, you will have me live there.
Yes. Thank you, guys.